One of my personal favorites in the motorhome world, Greyhawk 30X full wall mega slide here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. If you'd like to see if we have one of these beauties in stock and available, simply click the link in the video description that says check for price and availability. You'll see if we have one in stock, how it's equipped, what we're asking, and remember, it could be different from what you see here. Kind of like a car commercial, guys. When you see the car on TV, that's not necessarily the car sitting at the dealership. Same thing. So, we have a lot of fun things to talk about on these. Let's start right here while I'm looking at the front of this. Wide body. This is 102 wide body, so it does give you that extra living space. Now, normally that would make potentially navigating the roads a little trickier, and that's why Jayco has upgraded the mirrors on these to a higher standard as a matter of standards. You have standard power adjusting heated side mirrors with turn signal camera built in. So when you flip on your turn signal, it'll give you a line of sight straight down the sidewall of the coach. So you can make sure you don't have a blind spot, you're not going to be knocking somebody off the road. Because when you start playing bumper cars, everybody loses, am I right? The J-Ride Plus package is something I want to talk about on this. Jayco, their goal, anytime they build any of their motorhomes, whether it's a Precept, an Alante, a Grayhawk here, one of the Red Hawks, even a Red Hawk SE, is within a comparative class, they want to be the best handling and quietest riding out there. And I've driven a lot of different motorhomes. I do feel they've accomplished that here. I'm not saying there aren't other nice motorhomes. What I am saying is that unequivocally, Jayco has spent more money improving the ride and handling on this coach than anyone else in this category. Now, if those aren't factors you care about, maybe this isn't the right coach for you. But if what you're looking for is to enjoy the ride as much as you enjoy the destination, this should be on the list. So what have they done different? Up front here, it starts right up front, they have Bilstein shock absorbers. It's a high-performance shock absorber that's like the same thing that you find on, I think, Mercedes-Benz vehicles, but like racing vehicles and whatnot. What's neat about it is every time with a normal shock absorber, a normal tube-in-tube hydraulic gas cylinder, or fluid cylinder, every time you hit a bump, the fluid becomes agitated and it becomes a little less shock absorbing. So the difference with the Bilstein is it's a single tube encapsulated thing. It's a tube-in-tube design, a floating tube basically, or a floating piston rather, not tube, pardon me. What that means in English, guys, for those who aren't following along, is that bump number 1, this handles the same as bump number 1,000 on the road. It doesn't degrade your ride and handling performance. You have heavy-duty rear stabilizers attached to that rear suspension area back there, so that when you do get hit by those headwinds, it keeps the tail pointing straight instead of wiggle-wobbling every which way. You have a full computerized balanced drivetrain system on this, so that the wheel doesn't, do this when you're going down the road, so that the tires and everything are getting equal power, they're not wobbling themselves. You've got rubber isolation mounts where the rear suspension here, where that area of the chassis meets the coach, the camper part, if you will. There's these giant rubber isolation mounts, just extra vibration dampeners, if you will, so that the interior, your doors, your cabinets, your stovetop, they're not going down the road, because that gets old real fast. There's a few other things they've done, but those are some of the key points of that to make this an awesome ride and handling package. Now, 4,000 ohm generator to give you full service of everything in the coach if you are away from the parks. All of your latches are metallic slam latches with a different key from like a normal baggage door. So nosy neighbors, or it's never the neighbors, it's always their puke kids that always manage to get into things. But remember, kids usually a subject of the parenting. Now, one of the concerns I've heard people say, and this tells me that they've talked to what I call a snake oil salesman. I've heard a person come and say, they told me I shouldn't buy a Jayco because if the cap comes off, then there's nothing holding that up. There's just nothing in there. And that's not true. If you get really close to it, and this is where you have to get off the computer, if you put your hands on this, you can feel that this cap is actually higher up. It's closer to you than that wall. It's because this is a full sidewall construction and the cap sleeves over. And this is really the best area to see it. You can see how this cap has sleeved over all the traditional construction. It's a one-piece seamless molded cap. So that, like, if I take a Class C and on trade, an old, like, early 2000s, whatever, Class C, where it has, like, a normal seam in that front corner, it's not if but when it's leaked. I know it has. I go up there, I find mold, I've seen mushrooms in those things. It's true. So I don't have that problem here on your Jayco Class Cs. There's just no seam to be found in these things. We do have a very high gloss exterior package on this. It just looks dynamite. And it's funny, the Greyhawks have gone different colors over the years. I think one of the best looks they've had is just this clean white skin high gloss look. It has such a stellar look, and you can actually, I mean, clearly see the reflection of that Jayco Talon toy hauler in the background over there. It just looks fantastic. Frameless windows look stellar. You can use them even on a rainy day for a little bit of airflow, which is fantastic. Let me get twisted around here. We'll talk about, well, one of the other things I should talk about as I'm talking about construction is warranty. I've talked about a few other construction points, and I'll add a few more on top of this. But all those things add up to the fact that Jaycos have twice the warranty of this class standard. There's very few Class Cs even at all that have a 2-year bumper to hitch warranty. That is exceptionally uncommon. Plus you have all of Ford's coverages, like there's 3 to 5 years of coverage depending on whether you're talking chassis or drivetrain or engine or whatever. So this has more guarantees and protection and peace of mind on it than basically any other Class C in a remotely similar class, you know. That full wall mega slide, it's called a power gear drive system, so that it's all above the slide or the floor. That means this has a completely carpetless interior. You'll see that when we get inside. I was talking construction. The roof. This has the same one-piece fiberglass roof and a single-piece hoisted roof structure as a diesel pusher. What that means in English is that they build the entire roof at ground level and hoist it into place as one piece. That's exactly how they build diesel pusher roofs. You don't always find that in Class C markets. Jayco's been doing that longer than I think just about anybody else in Class Cs like this. But you'll still find like a lot of rubberized roofing out there, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But this is a reduced maintenance, reduced black streak, reduced cleaning roof system on here. That's one of the things I like about it. Now, here's an area that is very easily misunderstood by the marketing guys out there. If you go shopping for Class Cs, if you start flipping through the brochure, they almost all of them say 7,500 pound rated hitch. That doesn't mean you can tow 7,500 pounds with most Class Cs, because most Class Cs, the frame is not as strong as the hitch. So most Class Cs can tow 5,000 pounds with a 500 pound tongue rating. If you want to tow extra weight, if you read that asterisk in the fine print, it'll say with external hitching upgrade, 7,500 pound tow capacity possible. Jayco had their hitch, an installation structure specially custom designed, so that this is a true 7,500 pound tow rating with 750 pound tongue rating without external hitching upgrades or add-ons. This is the, as far as I know, and maybe there's other ones out there. I'm not educated on every single Class C, guys, but as far as I know, this is the only thing in its class that does that, and that was true at least the last 2 years. So Jayco adds bigger, brighter LED lights. All your lights, markers, everything is all LED because they flash faster. It can give the person behind you up to 5 feet of additional stopping time because you need to have a good time. So why do they do all this extra stuff for ride and handling and driving and whatnot? And I think the core difference, one of the biggest things to talk about is the difference between any towable RV, any of them, and any motorized RV, is that with these guys, your vacation doesn't start until you're backed into your site and you're unhooked and the water lines are hooked up and we got TV going and whatnot. But with a motorhome, your vacation starts the moment you turn the key. So they make sure that the experience of getting to the destination is just as enjoyable as being at the destination. That's the Jayco difference. That's the goal that they're accomplishing here. Maybe you don't care about those things. That's fine. You know, the Redhawk series, and especially the new real streamlined Redhawk SE, which I call Simple Edition, they don't go to quite that extent. So maybe if you're going to be a casual weekend camper, you don't need all that. Well, good. I got a coach for you still. I'm taking a little moment to point out, got a little outside gas grill quick connect right here, so if you're going to do some grilling, you're fine. Now, all your baggage doors you see, they also have sealed hinges on these so that dirt, debris, water can't get in those and screw up your hinge. You also have a double power entry step here. In the Class C market, you'll often run into a lot of what I call bucket style steps, and they're fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the there's advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage of this is that it is more expensive. The advantage to this, though, is that you maintain more of your interior space, because those bucket-style steps, you have to have a stairwell that goes quite deep into your coach. You don't have to have that here with this double power step. The other disadvantage with a bucket step is they hang down, where you're a little more susceptible to, like, speed bumps or road debris or clearance issues and whatnot. Check out this just giant window in this door too. There's a shade in front of that door so that you can you know, have that all closed up and be fine there too. You do have lights below the awning. You also see you have that outside entry light. Everything on this designed for both a ride and handling experience as well as a destination experience. But more of that you see inside, which, you know what, I think we're pretty good out here. Let's go ahead and step inside while we're at it. So I just want to recap again. Just remember, this is an example of one 30X Grayhawk we've had in stock here at Haylett RV. Not necessarily every single 30X Grayhawk here at Haylett RV. For instance, this is the Regal interior, which it looks amazing. This decor, like the contrast of this with the wood and whatnot, oh, it's just seamless, silky, and smooth. They have outdone themselves this year. Cosmetically, the improvements they've made on the Grayhawk compared to even earlier this year are just outstanding. Other than that, really the only thing, other thing we've done with this is we've upgraded to the 12 cubic foot fridge and freezer, which I need to thank you folks for. We did it for the first time last year as compared to the standard fridge, and I said, hey, if you have some feedback, please drop us a note in the video description. Leave us some comments, call our store, send us an email, whatever. And you said, hey, across the board, thank you, you know, for putting the bigger fridge in. I think that was a good decision. So if you guys have other things you'd like to see or questions or something, please leave us a note, because that helps us serve you better. We don't want to stock the things that we just think are neat. I mean, to really put it bluntly and directly, we want to stock the stuff that you want to buy, that you want to own. You know, I'm not partial. I don't care what color the interior is, as long as it's the one that you guys like, because I'm not the one who's buying it, guys. We're just the one that holds on to it for a little bit until you end up taking it home. So as always, when you have input, please let us know. So let's start from the bottom, work our way up. We've got completely carpetless interior, and I love that updated flooring. Dang it, everything in this looks good. Remember, power gear slide system means completely carpetless, even around that dinette. And what I love is they went the extra mile and they kept the carpet out of the dinette area as well. That's an area I've seen some manufacturers really fail and falter before. Another thing I want to point out here, seatbelts, safety. You can sleep a bunch of people in this thing. If you put the dinette down, if you put the sofa down, you can sleep a bunch of people in here. But rear-facing seat belts like those right there, and the dual seat belts in the sofa over here, these extra things that Jayco's doing that not every manufacturer does, those are the things that help, you know, really help drive the fact home that they are safety, family-oriented in their motorized RVs. And understand the liability that they take on when they do that. When they add rear-facing seat belts like that, which they're not required to, they're now subject to full federal safety guidelines for motorized vehicles. What's awesome is they don't just meet those standards for seatbelt pull testing. They actually exceed it by minimum 10%, or they rebuild the dinette base or whatever they need to make sure they can achieve that benchmark. So they actually build this above and beyond what's required even for a car. Because you know what? You could have a kid sitting there, and they want to make sure that kid stays safe. Hopefully you never need a seatbelt, but I also hope you never need a spare tire. But boy, I hope you got one when the time arises. So that's a big deal I like to talk about on these. Dual cross breeze windows, and it's even more obvious when the slide is closed. They're really facing one another. And again, if you wait till the end of the video or use the track bar to skip ahead, you'll see what I mean. That extra little skylight up there with the sunshade, that's just Jayco doing Jayco things, letting some extra light in here. That natural light that you really love when you get to your destination. Now, the countertops, these have been improved as compared to last year. This is now it's a full thermal foil countertop. It's seamless. There's no seamed edges where water can penetrate. That allows for the recession of a stainless double sink over here. You can kind of peek the little stainless hump in between the two basins right there. But even your little counter extension and your tabletop, any top is tip top in your Jayco Greyhawk. So you've got that just full peace of mind comfort, where in conjunction with the carpetless nature of this here, if the kid spills a drink or you hit a bump or whatever and a drink falls, well, no big deal. Wipe it up. You know, it's not going to damage anything. Now, one area where that was really obvious to me is last year when and it was really only obvious in this 30X model because you have a full wall mega slide. But last year when you shifted from the kitchen to the bathroom, you also really shifted countertops hard. And it did not, like, this is the only floor plan where I noticed that and I was like, oh, that's just rough because it's inches apart from one another. And now they're all the same. Now it has that seamlessness of it that makes it look very smart and premeditated. I think that was one of the best little touches they made on this model right here. Up front, one of the updates that or improvements, I guess you could say, that the Grayhawk enjoys over its little brother Redhawk is that you've got updated seats. They removed the Ford factory seats, so we've got a 6-way power captain's chair with, you know, more cushion, more padding, more comfort here for the driver. Remember, heated power side mirrors with turn signals. And over here, this is something let me get my glove off here real quick. I really like this. This is something that they started doing in the Jayco Class A motorhomes, and one of their geniuses there went, why aren't we doing this more frequently? On their Greyhawk series here, you have the same removable magnet face charging touchscreen navigation system here, and info and backup camera and everything else system that you have in like their preset Class A's. And it's just another example, I've said in the past, and I still believe it, how a Greyhawk, the only thing that makes this a Class C is just that cab. Other than that, everything on this screams Class A. The roof construction being like a diesel pusher, the bigger refrigerator, the bedroom arrangement, everything in this is shaped exactly like a Class A except for that cab. So they said, you know what? Why not? Why not make them a little more similar? And what's cool about this is being detachable. What if I get to my destination and I want to sit down? I've been in that cockpit all day. I want a different seat where I can sit down and stretch my legs out. Well, I can sit here with this thing, and I can sit down and I can view the local map, and I can program my route. And you can have it like show you like local high points and attractions and things like that. And you can plan a route for tomorrow. So now this becomes your local GPS in the little car that you towed around with you, if that's how you decide to go motorized camping. Everyone camps a little different. So this is just another area where they've made this even more flexible. Now, again, like a Class A, we do have auto leveling on these. So that's another nice little feature that you have on the Greyhawks that you don't find across the board in all Class Cs. Along with that ride and handling package, part of the quietest riding part is that soft touch ceiling liner. And it's a huge noise canceller. It's just a sound buffer dampener, and you don't hear that wind buffeting on the roof when you're going down the road, and you don't hear the neighbor people hooping and hollering all night when you're in the RV. It's like, other than my constantly talking voice, it's actually quite quiet in here, which if you ever want it quieter, just hit the mute button. I think my wife wishes she had a mute button sometimes, but I digress. Now, these are full extension drawers under the dinette, so that is easy to access as well. As I flip us around here, I want to point out we've got all hardwood cabinet doors, all pocket screwed cabinet styles. You can see the metallic struts holding up all the doors so that you don't have to do the head juggle method. I kind of touched on the kitchen earlier, but I want to really focus and finish on that right now. I want to open a few things up here, but I really welcome you to please visit our listing on our website, where you'll get to see where I actually open everything right up and stand back and take a nice photo where you can see how big and open and everything gets, including the nice little telescopic countertop extension right here. And that's actually on a little residential soft close, which I just love watching them do their thing. They're just cool. So we've got our 15,000 BTU air, which is plenty in this thing. You know, pumping air through the whole coach, keeping us cool and comfy. That 4,000 generator is going to run her no problem. Again, this is the upgraded refrigerator. It's about 50% bigger than a normal thing in this class. It does mean that you sacrifice a little pantry space, but again, thanks based largely, almost exclusively on feedback from folks like you viewers, people said, you know what, I can always find another place to put a box of mac and cheese, but there's only certain places I can put cold storage, and so any more cold storage I can get is always beneficial. And, you know, I, again, just can't say enough how much we appreciate that feedback from you guys. It is you that shapes our inventory. Moving on here, this bathroom, you have kind of a dual sectionalized thing here. Your shower area is in a private door, but then you have a sliding pocket privacy door to close off the rear bedroom. So it's always kind of half open, half accessible, which is nice for just, quick washing your hands. So, you don't have to wash your hands in the kitchen sink. More of these full plywood box, full extension drawers here. Again, stainless recessed sink in the bathroom, which this right here, this countertop and that sink, those are significant improvements over the previous generation of this 30X Grayhawk. And what's neat is even that little partition wall right there, it's actually part of the slide. So the bed, the kitchen, the dinette, it's all one big slide system. Now, having a 7-foot interior height, 84 inches, makes this very comfortable for tall people like me when you have to get into the shower, which is one of the problems that I have with a lot of trailers, is a lot of trailers are only 6.5 foot tall, but you have to step up into the shower. That's a plumbing code guideline that they're restricted by. So you lose interior height when you get into the shower, but that's why having a nice 7-foot interior height is not an issue. Now again, visit the, skip to the end of the video or whatnot, and you'll see where we have the slide closed and you can still get to the bed. You do need to climb over the bed, but it is accessible in transit. Full big closet back here, and I think the Greyhawks that have these big closets, very much like a Class A bedroom, these are the ones that have been most successful for us. The ones that you just don't have all that extra hanging storage and dresser storage. They've just never proven as popular, and for good reason. When you're in a coach in this price point, you have expectations. You expect to be able to pack it up and go anywhere you want, whenever you want, and you can do that in a Greyhawk. Even a little bonus storage behind the TV. This is on struts itself, so you've got sort of my grandfather called it the hidden Baptist medicine cabinet right here, and he'd always wink at me, and my grandmother would say, "Don't you tell him that," and he'd be like, "Don't worry, he's never going to remember." Well, I did. Again, max air fans for whole house airflow, and that's where this overcomes the only deficiency of those frameless windows. Frameless windows look beautiful, guys, and you can use them on a rainy day, but they don't get as much airflow as a sliding panel window. So Jayco said, no problem. We're going to put extra big fans in there to force in extra air, because it will exhaust hot air up, which will naturally pull recycled new fresh air in from the windows. So they took care of the only hiccup, I guess you could say. Here in the bedroom section of the Mega Slide, I love this extra big side stand, and you do have power outlets tucked back in that corner, so it's super CPAP friendly, and they just didn't waste anything. That little extra bonus drawer, handy for anything, everything that you need here. Now, one of the other things I like on these is in addition to the central air system, you also have a cabinet ducted heat system. So that means that there's no vents in the floor that can collect dirt and debris. Now, floor vented heating is slightly more efficient, but in a cabin space of this size, it's just not going to make an ounce of difference. When you're in some of these giant 40-foot fifth wheels, it really does make a difference. But in something this size, it's just not going to matter. So again, if you have extra thoughts, extra opinions, extra questions, don't hesitate to give our team a call here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. We, again, are ready, willing, and able to do anything we need to do to assist you guys. We do hitching, pieces, parts, trades, financing, truck and trailer package deals, or I guess vehicle and motorhome package deals, as it were, tow bars, tow dollies, whatever you need, we do all in one shot here, guys. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and stay tuned to see the slides closed in just a minute, everyone. And a quick fly through with that one monster mega full wall slide closed reveals that she is very traveling friendly here. What's nice is it's almost more obvious that you have these opposing windows with the slides closed, because it's just really in your face. It's like, oh, bang, look at that, windows all over the place. And this is really the area that I like to talk about, how Jayco does their seat belts. You'll notice you have seat belts here in the sofa. You have dual forward-facing seat belts in the dinette, but you also have dual rear-facing seat belts in the dinette. That's a critical point. Jayco's not required to put the seat belts right here, guys. They do that because, one, they like you to have the freedom to move about and sit about wherever you please, but they're just big into safety, like the extra taillights I mentioned outside and whatnot. That's just Jayco doing Jayco things. So, you know, you can sit as many people as you can sleep in here, and that's a problem a lot of people don't think about with a motorhome. You know, oh, this one sleeps 9. Yeah, but you can only legally seatbelt 6. You know, Jaycos don't have that problem. They always make sure they have as many, if not more, seatbelt positions than sleeping positions in this going, while it's in transit. That's a huge Jayco advantage, and it's understanding those differences that help you realize the different choices that you have out there. That's the stuff we like to hit on here at Haylett RV. So again, thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for hanging out. We'll go take a quick peek at the rear bedroom, but I just, this is not the shortest video out there necessarily. I hope it helped answer some good questions for you folks. I hope you understand we are ready, willing, and able to assist you with anything and everything here at Haylett RV. If there's other questions you have, which I'm sure you do, I've done what I feel is a quick flyby on this. There's so much more to learn, but there's just way too many things to cover than one video can offer you. Quick little peek at the walk-through bathroom here so that you can see you do have full bathroom access in transit. Now it does get close right here, but you can sneak through. High point though of the slide being closed is this rear sleeping space, because you see that the bed doesn't fold. So even though you need to crawl over the mattress, which is true of pretty much any RV, motorized RV with the slides closed, you can still get in the bedroom. You can still lay down without opening the slide. I would say slides, but this is just one giant slide, of course. You can still, get at the end of the day, you could drive a long distance, you could lay down, you could catch a movie, you could take a break, and, wake up a few hours later, rub the sleep out of your eyes, get a cup of coffee or caffeinated beverage of your choice, and hit the road again. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Haylett camping, everybody.